What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Phil Shocker, and the Nicely Jjdl with the Enamorus division for the JJDL. We are here, and like I said for all the other videos, I am helping my boy John Jr. out, as John has been getting burnout and also been having to really focus more on his work outside of content creation and this stuff, obviously, and also taking care of his his girlfriend, his daughter, his family, and just all the other stuff. And he just needs a break from all the Pokemon stuff that he's doing right now. So I'm taking over and helping him out with some JDL content here. If you guys are excited, leave a like and haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. Join the Fish Striker crew today because we're feeling with the king of the crew. Sorry if I'm sounding a little low energy on this one versus all the other ones I was in. I'm kind of recording all these all back to back essentially, so a little bit of a tour on the not tour, but like kind of a little bit of a downgrade on the voice right now. But and also I'm kind of getting a little tired again. But we're here, and we're gonna do the last division, and then we're gonna go ahead and get these uploaded. I was going to say these as this might be the last one we upload potentially. Who knows? But with that being said, let's talk about the teams that made the playoffs. So let's do it. We have the Miami Heatrons, coached by Smaster, I believe that's their name. The Rotom Washington Wizards, coached by Potato Z. We have coach of the Tottenham Two Cannons. I hope I'm saying that right. By Flapple. So the Pokemon Flapple is actually being able to win a draft league, but I'm sorry, there was a joke topper right there. I couldn't pass that up. We've got the Soul Shinx is coached by S. Just Jam. Sorry if I'm butchering the name. We have the Celestic Town Garchomps coached by Nice Valerie. We also have the Revolution, which is the Eevee Revolution, which is a dope logo and also a cool name. Coached by Ghost Trickster Leo. Everyone's favorite Buffalo Drills, coached by Tony, and the Worcester Tornadoes, coached by the man that competes in like 60 draft leagues a week, 60 draft leagues, and still manages to play good and play them in general, Coach Zombie himself. So, let's talk about these playoff matchups here. We've got the Miami Heat Giants taking on the Worcester Tornadoes. We have got the Rotiman Washington Wizards taking on the Buffalo Drills. We have got the Tottenham Two Cannons taking on the Revolution, and we have the Sail Shinx versus the Celestic Town Garchomps. So let's go ahead and get into these matchups right here. We already have Zombie right here in front of us, and I know their opponent facing is way over there, so we're not going to do that. So Zombie's team has got Great Tusk, Goldango, Meowscarada, Uxie, Azumarill, Fezzidipity, Jolteon, Talonflame, Berserker, Gudra, and Tauros, with Terra Captains being the Jolteon and Berserker with Ice and Grass and Fairy and Steel. I actually think Zombie's team here is actually pretty damn cool. He has a defog optional and I believe Talonflame, which can still potentially defog. I could be wrong, but he's got one of the best rapid spinners that he ever needs though in Great Tusk, which is really great. Meowscarada, a fantastic breaker and pivot. Azumarill, one of the arguably the best fairies in this format. Probably my number 2 or number 3 favorite fairy type to use. Jolteon, my boy! And so really good defensive pieces. He's got really good defenses and Azumarill, which he play defensive. I think Uxie plays more of his like the physically defensive Pokemon. Same with Great Tusk if he wants to be more physically defensive. I don't know if I like him in 2 Spadef walls on the same team like Fez and Gudra are, but they could play slightly different from how Zombie wants to kind of work with them. So it's gonna be really interesting. I do think the offense on this team is a little bit underwhelming. I mean, obviously Cheer Force Tauros is a menace to society. Jolteon is insanely hard to switch in. Belly Drum or Choice Banded Azu. Meowscarada, potentially a Specs or Nasty Plot Goldango, or a Choice Banded Great Tusk. I do think there's amazing options for offense on this team. But you kind of look at them and you look at your team, you kind of know what exactly they're kind of be. Then when you kind of scream at offense, then you're screaming Goldango, Meow, Jolteon, Tauros, and then some other things potentially. But I think Zombie's team is quite interesting. It's definitely got a good amount of momentum based with having a good amount of U-turners, Volt-Switch pivoting, which is also really good. Some Baton Pass users as well. I do think Zombie could have a good matchup here, but we'll just have to wait and see. So let's go ahead and find their opponent. And Smaster here, who has Dragapult, Iron Hands, Tinglu, Florges, Alomola, Yamega, Umungus, Cryogonal, Cresselia, Lycanroc Dusk, and Delphox, with Terracaptors being the Yamega, and Bug and Ground, and Poison and Fire. Poison is very interesting on the Cryogonal. I'm not gonna lie. Fire somewhat makes sense. I actually was debating Fire potentially for myself as well at one point. But looking at this team, I actually think Zombie's got a good matchup now. Looking at this team definitely doesn't have a ton of great offensive wall breakers. Like Dragonbolt's obviously going to be a menace to always deal with. I am the believer of Iron Hands being offensive more than being defensive. That's just me. But it's gonna be very interesting to see how that goes. Tinglu, obviously, really good high setter in there. Florges is going to be a really good fairy type. Aloe is just a bad, annoying Pokemon. Amoonguss with Spore is very annoying. Crest is just Crest. I think he doesn't have the best defensive pieces to switch into Zombie's team, in my opinion. I do think, in terms of hazard removal, though, if for some reason Zombie wanted to go hazard offensive, the Cryo's not bad in this matchup, but it's not the greatest as well. Excuse me. I do love some of the offensive breakers though that this team does have, like Pulled, Hands, in my personal opinion. Yamega, which has been proving to be such a demon mon this generation. Cryogonal even offensively. Cresselia, which can set up and go if it really wants to, but Lycanroc and Delphox is one good great standouts here. I think let me look at the matchup one more time. Mm, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give it to Zombie on this one. Just slightly though. I do think Zombie's Terra Captains match up better in this matchup. Like Jolteon is going stupid in this game. Jolteon goes absolutely stupid in this game. But it's gonna be very interesting how these teams play out. Zombie has obviously been a coach that's been playing for years, and definitely would probably have the experience advantage in this matchup. But I do think the Mons that Smaster has is got really good potential. But I'm gonna give Zombie the slight matchup here. I think just barely though, just barely. I'm not gonna say he's got crazy great, but it is just barely. And since Tony's here, let's just talk about his team against Potato Z. We have Annihilate, Iron Treads, Cinderace, Enamorus, Therian, Slowbro, Toedscool, Electros, Dragalge, Ambipom, Hoopa Unbound, and Glimmet, with the Terra Captain being the Ambipom with Normal and Ghost. Oh dear love of God, Tony's team is scary. Tony has one of the best Pokemon in Annihilate. Obviously, the fantastic rapid spinning options of Soar, Iron Treads, Hoopa Unbound, my goat, Dragalge, underrated, slept on Pokemon, which I think a lot of people didn't. Same could be said for Electros. Toedscroll, which is another good rapid spinner. I do think the defensive options on Tony's team are a little just slightly lackluster. I don't think they're crazy lackluster because you can have a great Fizdef wall in Slowbro and a good Spadef wall in Dragalge, which I think is really, really good. I love the offense on this team, though, from if you decide to go with that route in offensive Dragalge, the Hoop Unbound, Ambipom, which is also great, defensive to offensive Annihilate, offensive Treads, offensive Ace. Like, there's a lot of great things here that Tony's got going for him in this matchup. I believe his opponent is down here, if I am correct, in Potatoes. And Potatoes has Spectre, Enamorus, Jirachi, Como-O, Chansey, Toxapex, Mandibuzz, Mudsdale, Weavile, and Carbink, with Terras being on the Chansey and Carbink. Why are you doing this to people? With Fairy and Poison and Ghost and Grass. And now I do think the Terra Poison is actually a very smart option on the Chansey, just because in case Chansey does get to sit in front of Pokemon and kind of be able to deal with them, even though yes, you have Natural Cure, I do like the Terra Poison option, at least, to stop Toxic Spam, which is really good. And also Toxic Spikes from being a big factor in this matchup. So, really cool idea with the Chansey, even though you have a Toxic Spikes, which doesn't make sense. This team is way too defensive for my liking. I do not like it. Now, yes, I just said defensive when there's like maybe 3 or 4 Pokemon. But in my opinion, this team is like, it's a little bit more defensive than its offense. Its offense is in the top 3 and a Weavile. Now, the reason why I say that is because Komodo can be offensive, but defensive Komodo sets are very viable and are very utilized for great purposes for that reason. So, but I don't know. This is very scary, though. I do think, though, Potatoes is going to have a better defensive matchup in this one, though, versus an offensive matchup. So I think they're going to grab the best defensive pieces they're going to have and pair with like a few offensive mons. And I think that's going to give Tony a run for his money, honestly. Because Tony has great offense, but not a ton of that defensive support. So if I'm going to have to pick. Ooh. This is a tough choice. This is a tough choice. I'm not going to lie. Um, this is gonna be a hard choice. Hmm. I think I'm gonna go with Potatoes on this matchup just because I love the bulk going into Tony's team. I think the bulk that they have going to Tony's team is gonna be very hard for Tony to break down if he doesn't get it going. But I overall think this team from Potatoes, I think, is gonna put in the work against Tony. So I'm gonna go with Potatoes on this matchup for my personal pick here. Up next, we have Ghost Trister Leo taking on Flapple, which will kind of do the scenario thing. So Ghost Trister Leo's team is Iron Valiant, Corviknight, Chi-Yu, Rotom Wash, Hisuian Gudra, Clodsire, Umbreon, Bramwell, Politoed, Ludicolo, and the Dragonair with Terras being on the Dragonair and Ludicolo with Water, Electric, and Normal and Fairy. Where Flapple's team is Quaxo with the first overall pick. Don't know why. Also, don't know why there's an Ursula Blood Moon at round 3. What's wrong with you people? Also, a Sneasler plus Rillaboom. I'm okay. I'm gonna stop talking. But also Bisharp, Ursula Blood Moon, Sneasler, Rillaboom, Dondozo, Kilowattrel, Tinkaton, Mimikyu, Mew, and Infernape, with Terra Captains being only Quaxwell and Mimikyu being Steel and Fairy, and Fire and Ghost. So, looking at the matchup here, Corviknight, you're forced to be broad. Like, you literally look at this matchup, Corviknight is 100% being forced to be broad in this matchup, which is definitely going to hurt Leo because Leo definitely has to be very careful of how he plays around his team because he knows that if the Corviknight goes down, Rillaboom can go crazy. Blood Moon goes insane. Kilowattrel can just destroy teams. Infernape is so good in this matchup. I'm more going to say it right now, despite everything, even though, yes, there is a Politoed there, but here's the thing. That Politoed is going to help the Rillaboom because of a Grassy Glide and water damage. Plus, Rillaboom does have other fantastic ways to check things on opponent's teams. Also, I mean, you can't force those. You want to give 100% accurate Hurricanes and Thunders to a Kilowattrel, and even make a Dondozo hit a little more harder. I really don't know how this matchup's going to go in Leo's favor here. I actually really do think Flapple's got this. And here's the reason. I think Flapple knows that they are forcing his opponent to have to be bringing things like Corviknight into a matchup like this. And they can easily plan around that. So I think when you have a matchup where you can instantly know that you're forcing your opponent to have to bring this, and that, and you can easily prep knowing that it's going to come, I think that's what's going to give them the advantage in this matchup, which is why I got to pick Flapple for this matchup. I think Flapple's just they just got the team to match up in this one. But I'm not going to count Leo out though. Leo has fantastic defensive pieces on his team, such as the Corviknight, the Umbreon, and such. I really think if Leo plays carefully with his defensive pieces and whatever he ends up deciding to bring with those defensive pieces, he can pull out the victory. But from what I'm looking at here, I think Flapple's going to be picking up the victory here. So up next we have S Jim. I'm really sorry if I'm butchering this name, by the way. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, they're down there. So they have the Shell Sinks here with Palafin, Zapdos. Why am I seeing just a common trend of Palafin, Zapdos? This isn't already in my brain. King Gambit, Sylveon, Hisuian, Zoroark, Serena, Hippowdon, Hydreigon, Mug, Lycanroc, and the Appletun. I love the mini Sand Core you have paired on this team, which I think is really good. Also having some good defensive pieces that can pair with the Sand perfectly well, such as that King Gambit, which I think is really good. King Gambit loses any and all chip damage you can give it. I do think the Palafin is very powerful. Zapdos is really good. I do think this team balances out its defenses and offenses really well. Plus, its Terra captains being Muk and Lycanroc with Water Grass, Electric, and then Rock Fighting. I do think Lycanroc in any match you have, especially if it's a Terra allowed, this thing is going to click buttons into a lot of opposing teams. So it's going to be very interesting to how they do. Excuse me. But up next we have the Galactic Celestic Town Garchomp's coached by Nice Vizami. I'm sorry again, sorry if I am butchering the name, but they have the mascot pick in Garchomp, Lucario, Spiritomb for some reason at round 3, Milotic, Glaceon for round 5 or so on then. Same thing goes for a Braviary, Overcloak, Gliscor, Mantisone, Azelf, and Gastron with Terracops being Glaceon, Braviary with Water Steel and Ground Steel. This is interesting to say the least. Don't know how I feel about this team. I feel like this is kind of a weird team. It's got a good amount of repeated typings. It has pretty much mostly bulk with some few offensive pieces in this matchup. Like, I'm not gonna sleep on the Terra Braviary. I think that's definitely one of the kind of better options they have for offensive breakers in this matchup. Such as the Glaceon, but Glaceon's so dirt slow. You're gonna be forced to have to make that thing scarf. It's so sad because Glaceon's such a good Pokemon. I love my Glaceons. I do think, in terms of the matchup, think I'm gonna have to give it to the Shinxes, just because I think when you look at something like Palafin plus that Sandcore, it's just so hard for their team to kind of counteract it. Plus, you kind of look at King Gambit. What does King Gambit kind of do? It just kind of destroys things on your team. Like Gastron can get whittled down easily, revenge. Like Magneton, if it wants to Magnapole, that's fine. Like literally, King Gambit just 2 KOs you, and you kind of just don't get a chance to kill it. I do think the Lucario and Garchomp would pressure it and kind of force it a little bit. Also with a potential Terra Rock on Terra Ground. I mean on the Braviary, but King Gambit looks insanely good. I just overall think that Sajum. Again, I'm sorry if I'm pushing them. I'm just gonna call you the Shinxes. The Shinxes. I think the Shinx is just. I feel like they fare better in this matchup, in my personal opinion, just because like their offense and their defense work too well. And plus that sand core is going to be really good. Like this sand core checks this team very, very well, especially with the buffs like Rock got this generation and such. It's going to be a very tough matchup for the Garchomps to come out of this one. So I'm going to go in with the Shinxes for this one. But that is going to be it, guys. This is the last division I did. Thank God. I'm going to also get some food now. I'm getting hungry. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know in the comments who you want to win for the Enamorus division of the JGDL. And for all the coaches from the Enamorus division, who do you think is going to pull out the victory? Is it going to be you, or do you think someone else has got the better team that you know is going to be able to win the division for you? With that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.